Turn the mic up. This is legacy emotion. From vision of victory, trailblazing the path. Mind sharp, words heavy, every bar got class. Iconic by nature, pioneer by design. History in the making every time she aligns. Doctorate dreams, but the roots run deep. Built from the grind, now the whole world speaks. Culture, purpose, power when she steps in the room. Drop gems so real, make the future zoom. Yeah.
This is iconic pioneers. Hear the story unfold, where the fearless lead and the truth gets told. Every voice legendary, every lesson precise. Hosted with wisdom, Dr. Tabatha Russell on the mic. Press play. Stay ready. The movement starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Iconic Pioneers podcast. It's the space where disruptors, trailblazers, and bold thinkers gather to rewrite the rules of success. I'm your host, Dr. Tabatha Russell, and on this show, we go deep with those who aren't afraid to lead differently, those who are building legacy, impact, and authority that echoes for generations. Now, can I just say that today it's about to go down, okay? I am interviewing Dr. D, where she is absolutely amazing. She's doing some amazing things in her space, okay? And she's here today to share with us all the goodness that she has going on. So Dr. D, welcome in.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tabatha. I'm excited. I love your intro, by the way. So congratulations on that. That's fire.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, over here, I'm usually going in as that gets me going. So share with our audience on today who you are and what you do.
Awesome. So my name is Dr. D. So Reverend Dr. Darlene Williams is my full name. And I do so many things. I like to start by saying I am Reverend Brown's daughter and Betty Jean Brown's daughter, honoring my parents. But I am a coach, an executive, an entrepreneur, a bestselling author. And my focus is really helping people and institutions, but mostly individuals, overcome and get through their grief and loss journey. I have a framework that I have developed called the Life Quake Framework, and it really helps people focus on what has happened in their life, how has it impacted them, but also the goal is transformation, getting them to get to that rebuilding process.
I love it. Can I just say that is beautiful, that you're helping people to transform and get through their healing journey, right? I think that is absolutely beautiful. So tell me this, what does it mean to be an iconic leader to you personally?
That's a great question. To be an iconic leader, I think to me, it means that you're able to influence people in a positive direction. Leadership is all about influence and transformation. I like to say that if we're leading and no one's following us, then we're just taking a walk. We're not really leading. So to be an iconic leader is really ensuring that the people that are walking with us, the people that trust us, that can relate to us, that want to be a part of our mission, that we are empowering them, but we're also influencing them in a way that is in their best interest for what they want to do, but also the mission of the organization or the strategy that we're following.
Oh, I love that. That definitely speaks volumes, because a lot of times people don't have that strategy or the structure in order for them to be able to get along the way on their journey. So when we talk about transformation, for example, tell us about a defining moment when you realized that you weren't built to follow the crowd.
Oh, wow. Now, right now. And I remind myself of that every single day. So, I was an executive in corporate America in the nonprofit space, president and CEO of nonprofits, managing thousands of staff, billion-dollar budgets, assistant commissioner in New York City government and all the things that came with that. And throughout my time in leadership, I went through my life quakes, and I use plural because there were many things. I went through a very significant grief and loss journey. I lost my entire childhood family in 5 years, my father, my mother, and my sister. 6 months after my only sibling passed away, I became ill, and the doctors told me I wasn't going to make it. And I didn't go back to my comfort zone, to my place of employment, where I was making well over 6 figures and living the life. And, my husband was doing his thing, I was doing mine. And I did not go back because I realized that my life was worth more than sacrificing on my job. And no mission, no organization should my body be collateral damage. And I think that was my defining moment. And, I had to really have a conversation with God about what my assignment is and what my purpose is. And I realized that I'm not meant to do what everyone else is supposed to do. Throughout my whole life, all of my careers, all of my organizations, they were all in the helping field. They were all in human services and social services. So I've always done this work, but now I've made the decision through the defining moments to do this work for me.
Yeah.
And that was key for me in helping me to realize that, okay, this is the time and I need to stop and listen to God.
I love that. Quite often, many of us go through those phases where we start to internalize, right? Really, and question what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Are we doing it right? Are we on task? Are we making a difference? All of that. And I see that all the things that you've put into place is really making a difference in other people's lives. So I also know that every leader faces some sort of resistance. So give us another obstacle or one obstacle that almost broke you, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, just one.
This one.
The slow start, I think, because my business has been in existence since 2014, but I didn't really pay attention to it. Haven't really been doing all the things and putting the systems and strategies in place correctly to make the business successful. It's a different world when you're working for someone else, and then when you're trying to be an entrepreneur. You can, rise to the highest level of your organization. I was running the organization, but now running my own organization, I'm like, okay, Lord, I need help. This is different. It's different when you're cultivating donors for your nonprofit and trying to get sponsors for your event. It's the same mechanism, but it's just a different thing. So I would say the slow start and not seeing the fruit of my labor right away was discouraging. It's okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Did I hear you correctly? Do I need to go back in the workforce? But finding a circle of like-minded people, finding coaches, finding mentors, because I've always been the coach. So now flipping that and finding people to coach me, like every coach needs a coach. If you have a coach and they don't have a coach, I would look out and watch out for that. That's the defining moment, not to give up, to push forward. I hear myself saying to people, you're going to quit right when you're at the point of the light at the end of the tunnel. But now I'm telling myself that. Okay, Darlene, tell them what you told them for yourself.
That's right. That's right. I love it. That's kind of that mirroring effect, right? Just make sure that when you look in there, you see you and you're doing the things. And I do believe in investing in yourself at the highest level possible available to you, right? That is going to be the thing that makes the difference and causes you to grow, because you have to be the person that can steward that level of helping others, right? Because being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart by no stretch of the imagination. I tell people, ooh, I'll give you these shoes any day you want them, right? You're going to learn that day, as they say, you're going to learn today. Yeah, you're going to learn some things, because I also operate from the space of a coach needs a coach, a leader needs a leader, a mentor needs a mentor. And if those things are not in place, we put ourselves at a grave disadvantage because there's so many things that we may not know that we need to take in, that can help us to, first of all, shore up the foundation and then go far, because we can go fast by ourselves, but we can go further with some other help. So how do you balance building wealth, influence, and impact without sacrificing your authenticity?
Oh goodness, these are great questions. Well, one, I think I definitely stay grounded in my faith. That's really, really important to me. Sundays are sacred. If I'm answering an email, then I really need to do it. I didn't get to it, but Sundays are sacred for my worship time and my family time. Every Sunday, I get my grandchildren. They come over, and it's I can't do anything with them anyway, but I make sure I'm not doing anything, and then I worship in the morning and take them with me. So that's my balance, because if I miss that, then my week is thrown off. How some people, if they miss their favorite show, their week is thrown off. If I miss my worship time and if I miss my grandchildren, then my week is thrown off. I also, try to make sure that I'm being authentic in what I'm saying and who I'm speaking to. People, don't realize I'm an introvert at heart, like a true introvert, but I don't have issue with saying how I feel and then walking away if it doesn't align with my values. So I find I pretty much can make sure I stay true to myself. And I pray constantly for God to continue to give me the spirit of discernment. That's one gift that I want to make sure I have, because if something's not aligned with my purpose and how I feel, I want to be able to recognize that, so I don't get into a situation where I'm not being genuine and I'm not being authentic in a situation.
I love it. I love it. I think authenticity is definitely one of the top things that we need to have. And you mentioned something about church, right? Sundays being sacred. I tell people that church is my home base. As much as I travel, as much as I go and do conferences, speak in organizations, all these things, I am coming back home because that is my home base. I need that. That's a part of my lifestyle, and it's a part of my being. So having that at the center, I definitely agree with you there. What's a myth about leadership or success that you believe that needs to be dismantled immediately?
That leaders have all the answers. I've been in spaces where, you ask a question and you're the leader, and the leader refuses to acknowledge or admit that they just don't know. And sometimes I feel like that's that pressure that is put on leadership when you have a title, even the pressure we put on ourselves, that we always have to know the answers. If I don't know, the answer is I don't know, and I will get back to you. If someone else knows and they're not a leader, not being afraid to call them in and saying, hey, you have this information. Can you educate me on it? Just because you're the leader doesn't mean that you know everything and you're always the one leading the meeting or leading the discussion. You shouldn't be ashamed or feel you're too important to learn from other people. Like, we're all learning from each other. So I think that's one myth. It's just because we have a title means that we are the smartest person in the room.
I love that. I definitely believe that is something that we can all learn from the standpoint of how it is that we get the opportunity to open ourselves up to knowing that, first of all, we don't know everything, right? I'd be the first person to say, I do not know everything. And I pride myself, though, on surrounding myself by people that know a little bit more than I do, that are in different areas that can help me to shore up that foundation and keep it there. So also, I think that as a leader, being able to say that You know what? I'm not quite sure about that. Let me get back to you. Shows strength. That shows character, integrity, authenticity, right? Because ain't no need to just try to, fudge your way through and be like, man, I got this. No, that shows true strength because that is also humility, and I think that that is good. Now, I know that your success has been leaving some clues along the way. What daily habits or rituals keep you operating at an iconic level?
Mm. Daily habit. So I have a community that we started. It's called the Sovereign Sisters Collective. And it's a community of women. We get together and really pour into each other and support each other and, really ensure that there's accountability and sisterhood. I have a daily bread that I utilize for myself, read my meditation in the morning. So this past Monday, during our Monday morning prayer call, I shared that with the collective, and it was really great. It kept me grounded, but it also reading it out loud to them, it just felt different than when I read it in the morning by myself. I was like, I read this by myself every morning, but this felt really, I felt so inspired doing it with the sisters. So that's one daily ritual that I have. This may be funny, but my family tells me I need to just buy a coffee pot. Every morning I leave here and I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I get my coffee. My son sent me I don't know, it was a meme or it was something. We had a snowstorm here in New York, and it was somebody running in the snowstorm saying, Duncan, I'm coming, Duncan, I'm coming. That is me. Every morning I go, but there's something about just getting out the house and getting out of the office and going and having something that you do on a regular basis. When I walk in, they know my order. They automatically make it. They say, hi, sister, good to see you. And when I'm not there, they miss me. When I'm traveling, we missed you for a couple of days. So I think that's something that as simple as it sounds, it's just having something that's yours, whether it's going for a walk, going to the park, walking your dog, something that you do. Like, that's my time to just stop and think. It could be anything, but for me, it's just getting out the house in the morning, going to get my coffee.
I love, love, love that. Now, I'm not necessarily a coffee drinker. Me and my husband, we actually cut out caffeine altogether a few
Nice.
months back. And can I just say that it's been life changing? However, I do believe that you have to have, right? That's not even proper English, but you must have a daily thing that you do in the beginning of the morning. Like, that sets the precedence of the day. And even if the day doesn't go as you planned it, or to your liking, you can bounce back so much more quicker because you've set the foundation, right? So I love that for you and the collective, that you have that you share together. I often tell people, because I used to be a professor where I taught Christian life coaching, right? I would tell them that when you read the Bible, even when you're reading your lesson, read it out loud. It just hits differently, right? It lands and seemingly you soak it in so much better. And so since doing that, it's been game changing. So I understand when you were saying how you read it to them and how it was like, oh, this is nice, right? So yes, I love that. So legacy is more than wealth. What legacy are you intentionally creating for generations to come? Because I know you talked about those grandbabies on Sunday, and I absolutely love, love, love my grandbabies. I tell them they can have all my lunch money, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's how much I'm like, what you want? Yes, let's go get it, right? So what are you creating for the generations to come?
Yeah. I really, my children are just so important to me. And my middle child, he'll be 30 this year, and he has said to me repeatedly, Mom, we have to buy a compound. I was like, a compound? He's like, yes, we have to buy land someplace, out of New York, where we just all have a house. We all live on the land, the kids, the grandkids, everyone. And little does he know that in Greenville, Alabama, there's a little dirt road that says McCall Road. And McCall is my family name. And on that road, some 50 years ago, every house was my family. It was my grandmother's farm. You go down the road, it's Aunt Johnny's house here, Uncle Clarence house there, 10 houses on that road. Now it's just a dirt road with trees and nobody lives there. The church down the block, everyone that's buried in the cemetery is a McCall. So when he said that, it reminded me of the legacy that my parents started that he had no knowledge of, but he had that same vision. So I want to definitely try to continue in that legacy that my parents started and build that for my children and my grandchildren. And hopefully maybe not on the dirt road in Greenville, Alabama, but someplace instead of a McCall road, we can have a Williams Way, someplace where we have a place for the family.
I love that. Gosh, when I hear you talk about that, it definitely says that you are instilling in them how important it is to stick together, right? One of the things that we as a family have done is just that same thing, right? Like we purchased some land not long ago, and everybody has a say in it. And so it's been absolutely amazing just to see how when we connect and we lock arms, how much quicker, first of all, that all of it comes together, but then how we get the opportunity to say that this is ours, not just mine, right? Because I'm okay. The house that we bought and built, we are thankful for. It was what I consider to be my dream house, all these things. And then when the land project came up, I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's different. Like I had already been working with the fellas and our daughter to make sure that they, purchase homes and all that kind of stuff. However, it was like, oh, we're going to do this together. Like, okay, let's go. And just looking at how, with focus and intentionality, man, there's nothing that we can't accomplish, but we're doing it together. And I think that speaks volumes that you're doing that and you want to preserve that legacy for now the generations to come. So when we talk about though this leadership, luxury, and legacy, we talk about that a lot here on the show. How do you personally define luxury as a leader?
Luxury as a leader. I would probably say it's having options. Having options and not being confined and having barriers to things. Luxury as a leader is being able to decide what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it, not because I have to, because I want to, being able to decide that I'm going to take a job opportunity or a contracting opportunity with an agency or a person that's aligned with my mission and my beliefs rather than someone who is not, because I don't have a choice, right? So having the ability to say no when I want to, and realizing that it's a gift to be able to do that and not being tied down to something because I don't have any other choice.
I like it. I definitely would say options is a gift for sure. And that is a luxury because a lot of times we feel like that we only have just the one option. I tell everybody to make sure that when you are, moving to that next level, give yourself some space to understand, first of all, what you're getting into, why you're doing it. And then more importantly, set yourself around those boundaries that you were talking about, but also with some expectations, right? So that you have something to hold on to when you're done with whatever it is that you're working on. So what is the boldest risk that you've taken in your career and how did it shape your trajectory?
Now, my boldest risk is now. When I got sick in October 2024, after my sister passed, I couldn't do anything. And I've held down a job, if not two jobs, and going to school since I was 14 years old. So this is the longest time that I have not worked for somebody else. And it's been a year and a half. So I was just doing my taxes last week. I invested in myself a lot last year. At the same time, my husband retired from, almost 30 years as the chief with NYPD. So we are standing on faith right now and putting our all into the business and the dream and the goal of helping people in this very non-traditional way. There aren't a lot of people that focus on grief and loss and the trauma and how that impacts you as a person and impacts your leadership, impacts your ability to just show up in the workplace for other people or for yourself. So spending this year thus far has been a bold move, and continuing to do it, not giving up. This is a big risk, and it's the biggest risk I've ever taken in my life. I've never not worked for anyone else.
I love that. Like, okay.
I mean,
I'm listening to you and I'm just like, wow, like I could pick up my story and put parts of my story like back into this because that is a bold move. Now, we talked about being rooted and grounded in our faith, right?
yeah.
And that in itself will allow you, though, to go out in the deep and be like, okay, Lord, I trust you. And everything still works out. A year and a half later, as an entrepreneur in this day and time, yes, and helping people with their grief and trauma. But can I just say congratulations, because that is very much so needed nowadays. Like when we think about where we are, history, all that kind of stuff, we just came out of a pandemic not very many years ago, right? But that exposed so much trauma, mental illness, sickness that was going on mentally that people were used to hiding, right? Or maybe not been aware of it. But when everything shut down, I think that became the biggest opportunity though for us. And believe it or not, I still believe that we're in the greatest era of wealth transfer ever because of technology, because of access and positioning, right? You talked about investing in yourself. Well, I don't know about you, but I am definitely like you that I'm going to bet on me for a change, right? Invest in me and continue to do so because I know that the outcome, the purpose, the drive that is on my life, the calling is unmatched, right? It's like, let's go to the 10th power because there's so many people that need what you have to offer. So first of all, I'm excited for you that you are doing it. You're doing it well and making a difference. And I know that for those that are listening, though, who feel called to lead but question their power, what's your message that you want to leave with them on today?
I spoke at a panel on domestic violence on Saturday. And one thing I said at that panel was a disruption in your life does not mean destruction. A disruption does not mean destruction. And I mention that because oftentimes we go through things and we think it's the end of everything, right? We think it's the end of the world. The sun won't come up tomorrow. And then guess what? The sun comes up tomorrow. And we can make decisions that are detrimental to us and to other people in a time of stress and a time of emotional unrest. So my message would be to just take a breath, find someone to take that breath with you and hold on, and just remember that it's not the end of your life, and I say that literally because I was with someone on Saturday at this event who only came to the event after almost trying to take her life the day prior. And she got up on the stage and told her story and how we all inspired her in the room. So my encouragement and my word would be that you can continue, you can go on no matter what happens. Many people have gone through what I have gone through, but if you would have asked me if I would be sitting here motherless, fatherless, siblingless, and be able to talk about it without crying, without breaking down, building a business around it and helping others, I would say you were crazy. And I'm doing it. So stay encouraged and remember that you can get through and you can keep going.
Can I just say, I love that. I love that for you. And I love that you're making trauma beautiful, right? That you're helping people to understand that this is not the end of the world, but you can get through this. Basically, having somebody to come along with you, community. I don't think that people understand the gravity and the power behind having a community that can help you through. It really does make a difference. So thank you so much for sharing that with us on today and just for being here. This has definitely been amazing. If you will share with the audience how they can connect with you.
Awesome. So you can connect with me through my website, www.darlenewilliams.com. That's drdarlenewilliams.com. Everything is there, one-stop shop. You can just find all the links to all of our assets on that page.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll have to have you back on again just to catch up with you to see how things are going. And this has definitely been amazing. So thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to connecting again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take care.
Yeah. This is iconic pioneers. Hear the story unfold, where the fearless lead and the truth gets told. Every voice legendary, every lesson precise. House filled with wisdom, Dr. Tabatha Russell on the mic. Press play. Stay ready. The movement starts now.